After the president suggested over the weekend that Gaza Strip be cleaned out, and Palestinians relocated to other countries like Egypt and Jordan, those countries' governments, they seem to balk. Jordan's Minister of Foreign Affairs said the nation is committed to, quote, ensuring that Palestinians remain on their land, adding Jordan is for Jordanians and Palestine is for Palestinians. And Egypt's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said Sunday that it rejects any forced displacement of Palestinians. But President Trump is still saying he's spoken with both nations and that they would agree to his plan. Joining us now, senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace and former Arab-Israeli negotiator at the State Department, Aaron David Miller. What's the likelihood that Palestinians in Gaza are going to look around and say, this is just too much of a mess for me, I'm going to go to Jordan, I'm going to go to Egypt?
Slim to none, Katie, and I think Slim already left town. Look, the president, having been president for 4 years, surely understands the sensitivities and sensibilities, particularly of the Jordanians and the Egyptians, for absorbing on anything that resembles a permanent basis, or even temporary, because temporary in the Middle East has a way of becoming permanent, as we know. He knows that Egypt and Jordan are not going to accept large numbers of Palestinians on a permanent basis. He also knows that Palestinians, however bleak their circumstances, and they are incredibly grim, even with the ceasefire, the prospects of reliable humanitarian assistance and reconstruction aid, it's a huge lift. They're not going to accept forced displacement. I mean, I suppose some might, but we're talking roughly 2.3 million Palestinians of Gaza. He also knows that President Trump, that he's reflecting the views of many right-wing Israelis who would like nothing better than to see Gaza emptied of Palestinians and additional territory taken by the Israelis for permanent settlement. There is a substantial constituency, certainly in the Israeli government, and their constituents on the right who want to see that. So I think he's being intentionally disruptive. But if I were Jordan and Egypt, I'd be a little worried that from here on in, a transactional president may well say, you know, you want to continue in assistance? You want the U.S. as a friend? Then you're going to have to meet me halfway. You need to start taking some of these people. So I think it's, by and large, very unhelpful all the way around.
That also goes, that transactional quality of his goes to the Israelis as well. And Donald Trump, the first time around, was all in on the Abraham Accords, normalizing relations with Saudi Arabia. If he wants Saudi Arabia back on his side to move this thing along, to potentially be in the running for a Nobel Peace Prize, Saudi Arabia has its own demands. They want there to be a pathway to statehood, a real pathway to statehood for Palestine. They want that to exist. That's something that Israelis don't want. The Israeli government certainly doesn't want it as it's currently configured. How much sway would Donald Trump have in forcing that issue on the Israeli side?
Well, I guess this is the unanswered question, what we don't know. Clearly, in Trump 1.0, the president created a veritable sugar high for the Netanyahu government and did very little that we considered against Israeli interests. Trump 2.0, however, may well be different, because on two issues, I think that the president's objectives may well collide to some extent with Israel's. Number one is on Iran. I don't think the president is interested in a major Middle East war or is going to readily acquiesce in an Israeli strike against Iran's nuclear facilities. He wants to deal with Iran. At least he wants to test the proposition or the possibility that there could be a deal. Second, he is looking for a Nobel. And if you Google Donald Trump and Nobel, it's funny how many times over the last, well, when he was president, and during the last 4 years, that he's referred to the fact that Obama didn't deserve one, and maybe he should have one. And I think he does want one, and that is going to bring him, if in fact the Saudis are willing to play along, and I think they probably are, but they're going to need some sort of commitment on the issue of Palestinian statehood and demonstrable steps on the part of the current government of Israel, or any government of Israel, that in fact the Israelis are serious, at least down the road, of taking steps that would inspire confidence that they believe in that as an outcome. And those are two goals and objectives right now that don't mesh quite with what with the government that the current Israeli prime minister is presiding over.
It's complicated. Aaron David Miller, we're going to wait and see. Yeah, always. Let's have you back on to talk about this further. This story is one that I'm sure is going to be big for us.